Hi, Matt here. Saturday. Just got back from my son's birthday, had a blast, a little bit rushed on time, so I'm going to do a quick video today. You're all like, thank God. Um, and actually, we just finished 1st and 2nd Thessalonians yesterday. Going to pick up on, so we're going to start Hebrews in a week and a half. So I'm just going to kind of freewheel a little bit here, and actually I had a request from a brother of mine who was going through some tough times that he asked me if I would do a video on Deuteronomy 8. So this is for you, my brother. Deuteronomy is an interesting book. I haven't been here in a while, but Deuteronomy is basically a sermon by Moses to the people before he dies, or a series of sermons. And up till now, God's been speaking through Moses, to Moses, and so here we see Moses speaking to the people. He's kind of restating what God had told him originally, which is what Deuteronomy means, a restatement of the law. So, just going to read the first couple verses in chapter 8 and comment on it, and then we'll get into the rest of it tomorrow and Monday. 8:1. The whole commandment that I command you today you shall be careful to do, that you may live and multiply. So that's what happens. That's direct fruit of obeying the commandment, that you may live and multiply and go in and possess the land that the Lord swore to give to your fathers. And you shall remember the whole way that the Lord your God has led you these 40 years in the wilderness, that he might humble you. That he might humble you, testing you to know what is in your heart. Whether you would keep his commandments or not. Oh, I see. Okay, I see. Interesting. I think we'll just stop there. So here we see instantaneous, right away, what happens when you keep God's commands. Well, you live, which is always a good thing, right? And you multiply. You bear fruit. That could mean a lot of things. You multiply in a lot of areas. Here he's talking about probably increase in one's family. Go in and possess the land that the Lord swore to give you. So the Lord gave them Canaan, and they're about to go in. And it's a little bit of a reflection here. He says, and you shall remember the whole way that the Lord your God has led you these 40 years in the wilderness. God's led them the whole time in the wilderness, that he might humble you. See, why does God let us go through the wilderness? It's interesting. It's for humility. It's to break us. And what does it do? Well, it tests us to know what's in our heart. Do we really belong to him? Because it's easy to say we belong to Jesus Christ when things are going great. But those that obey God when they lose everything, those belong to God. We see in Matthew 13, I go back to Matthew 13 a lot, but we see what happens to those that don't really belong to Jesus Christ. I see two things. Well, first of all, we see the first parable of the sower, that the enemy takes the seed, okay? But the second two are really of interest to me, because I think there's a lot of those in America. And those are the people that hear the seed with joy, but when the persecution comes because of the word, it chokes out the salvation, chokes out it chokes out the seed. That's a better way of saying it. The seed of salvation, because nothing can take us from salvation. And then the third group are those that the lusts of this world choke out the seed of salvation, the lust for riches and all these things. So here God wants to know what's in their heart. Now, the interesting thing is God already knows what's in their heart. God's showing them what's in their heart. He's showing them, some of them are going to die in the way. Remember when he opened up the earth and sucked them up? Some of them make it. So God already knows. When we're going through the trial isn't necessarily for us to prove to God that we can do it. It's to God to show us that you are indeed a chosen one. It's an interesting way when you really want to look at it the true way. You got to flip it around. God lets us go through testing to see if we really belong to him. And it's a good thing. It's a very good thing. And an interesting thing is, when I see this and I look at my own life, when I started going through my desert, it was punishment. It was indeed punishment. And then at a certain point in time, it ceased being punishment and suddenly turned into a test. And it's an interesting thing. Some people will say, "Well, God's not a punitive God. He won't punish you." Yeah, He will. The Lord chastens those He loves. Hebrews 12. It's a good thing, but sometimes He'll just let us go through tests too, to build our faith, to build our character, to make us more like Him. We've looked at suffering. Why do we suffer? We see it in Romans 5:3-5. We see it in 2 Peter 5:5-10. We see it in Colossians 1:24. It's a good thing to suffer. It shows you who you belong to. Who's your daddy, right? So here He's doing it to humble us, or to humble them. Sorry, to test what's in their heart, and that's what He does to us. And the day that God humbled me, and I got a long ways to go. I'm not saying I've arrived at this great land of humility, but the day when God started taking things out of my life and really breaking me, that was the best gift God could ever give me. Because through that, I truly became a child of God. Up until then, I was on the fence. And there is no such thing as on the fence. I wasn't born again. I was a false convert. People can say all they want. I said a prayer. I asked Jesus to come into my heart. But when you go through the fire, you find out who your daddy is. Whether you're going to obey Him, or whether you're going to seek to scratch the itch. Whether you're going to seek to the pride of life, the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh. 1 John 2:15-16. So this desert experience that we all will go through, some kind of desert experience, is a good thing, and this stripping away is the best thing a loving father can do for his son or daughter. I'm going to stop there today, and we'll pick it back up tomorrow. Peace. Talk to you guys soon. God bless.